Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Billy, and in today's video, I'd like to share with you the culture shock I felt during the first week studying in Australian National University. You may have already attended the orientation week and has a tutorial about this before, but I do think there are a lot of problems that's happening, but nobody seems to talk about it. But don't worry, if you're feeling the same, you're not the only one. So let's get on to it. If you had experience studying abroad before or attended the orientation week about this, you may already know the 4 different phases of transition in a culture shock. But just in case you don't know, let me simply explain this to you and let me look at my note. So first, you're gonna experience the honeymoon phase or the tourist phase, in which you feel very happy and excited to experience the new culture, making friends from all over the world, and try new food and new activities. And this is a happy phase, probably lasts for 1 or 2 weeks. But then you enter the courses, which is now, and you may experience the crisis or shock phase, or we can call it a distress phase. And during this phase, you may feel that, oh, this is not exciting anymore. I'm so stressed about the new things happening around me. The people around me don't seem to interact with me the way I expected, or the courses are so different to the system you are experienced. Yeah, I guess everyone may face this problem somewhere during your study. And then you're trying to adjust, and this is when you enter the adjustments phase, or we call it a gradual recovery. And then last, if you're lucky enough, you will finally adapt to the new culture, and this is called the adaptation phase, or resolution. Well, just so you know, this is very standardized and official instruction to the culture shock. In reality, I think there are so many different other phases that you may experience. And especially now we're all doing online class, it's not necessary that we go through these standard phases. But don't get me wrong, I think this is great if you can go through the standard phases and enter the adaptation phase. Well, congratulations, it means you are a successful student. But in reality, I think there are just so many ways that you can get away with all these troubles. I mean, it's actually easy to survive without adapting to the local culture. This might be a terrible example, but I'm in it, so I guess that's okay. There are just a lot of Chinese students in NU, as we all know. Especially now we're mostly doing online class in our home country. We might be surrounded by our families or old friends. And we have our own Chinese groups in which we only speak Chinese. Yeah, we support each other. That's a great thing. But it also makes it easy for you to just rely on Chinese language and your Chinese friend and not interact with anyone in school, but still get a great score in NU. I don't know if that's true. But you have to ask yourself, is this worth it? Is this worth your international tuition? And did you get a full experience by doing this? Maybe not. So maybe you have to make a hard decision. And yeah, it is hard to adapt to a new culture, to speak a second language, and do all these things. And there are so many other easy ways just to avoid it. You just have to make the right decision for yourself. I personally find the biggest culture shock and difficulty to me in Australia is the individualism. I don't mean by making friends or interacting with people, I mean by the independent study. I think you're expected to study a lot by yourself here. That is very different from where I came from. So in the educational system in China, everything is kind of planned out already, and you really don't have that much of a choice of your study. You just go with the system and you can succeed academically. But here, during the first week, the lecturers kind of expect us to know everything, to learn the case and material before the lecture. And during the lecture, it's more about group discussion, you giving the opinion and the professor giving you some feedback. So I didn't know this, but I guess a lot of people didn't know this either, which makes it very awkward and quiet during the discussion time. Well, maybe this is a business school thing, and it's definitely a grad school thing. I mean, it can be different from different discipline, but I do strongly suggest you to go through the orientation of ANU academic skills. If you didn't have previous experience, I don't think you would survive without it. Like, you need to know how to source information, how to use citation, and how to write an essay. I mean, that's basic, but nobody will force you to learn all this. There are some good culture shocks I experienced. For example, I really like the informality in Australia. For example, the professors are just so nice and friendly. You call them just by their first name. I never experienced that before, because in my culture, you're expected to expect your teachers a lot, and you cannot criticize them or say no to them. I think this is a big advantage of the Australian educational system, because in this way, you can connect with your professors, tutors, or anyone who's superior than you in school easily. For example, I posted my previous video on the ANU Facebook group. A lot of people actually reached out to me. There were student leaders or even school officials, and they asked me for opinions on stuff. It made me feel like in this community, if you need help or you need advice or want to share your opinions, there are so many people who are willing to reach out to you. I know I haven't been to Canberra or Australia, so there are so many things that I don't know. So please feel free to leave a comment and share what your culture shock is and how you deal with it. Or if you need some advice on culture shock, yeah, you can also leave it on the comment. And please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. This will really help my channel grow and for me to make more content in the future. And I hope to see you on the next one. Thank you for watching this video. Bye.